Now time for us to get underway with the penultimate final of the weekend. It is DD2 and DD2 Masters. Here is your starting grid. On pole position, it will be Enzo Boll that will lead the way, lead the field into turn number 1. Alongside him will be Victor Frostbay from Denmark. Carl Gustav Borgard and Nicolas Picot. Right, we've just had the red flag shown at the circuit. Basically because they were trying to get the recovery lorry back to where they are, so the field will be lining up. The recovery truck looks to be on its way back. Okay, so the recovery vehicle was on its way back, taking some of the Gini Rotax drivers back to Park for May. But we're going to run through the grid for you one more time. Enzo Boll starts from pole position. Victor Frostbay will be alongside on the front row, followed by Carl Gustav Borgard and your DD2 Masters pole sitter, Nicolas Picot, who won the pre-final earlier on today. Nikolai Christiansen and Tom Bracken, row 3. Ed Matthews and Mats Johan Overhoff, row 4. Maxime Dirix and Jules Cousin, row 5. Kane Cherian and Lucas Pernaud, row 6. Michael Becker and Ilias Kaliakmanis, row 7. Dennis Toom and Luca Filipponi. Row 8, Christophe Capitan, Karl Klebor, Lennart Schreiber and Nicolas Guillaume Unomas rounds out the top 20. Dominic Hummels, Tony Hogg and Yori Klebor complete the 23-strong running order. So 15 minutes plus an additional lap in this particular occasion. So here we go, the penultimate race of the weekend. It's DD2 and Masters. It's the final on day 2. Revs rise, are we ready? We are underway! And a good start by Victor Frostbay, who sweeps up the inside of countryman Carl Gustav Borgard to take second position. As Enzo Bol got a lightning start, as we customarily see for the youngster from the Netherlands. A little bit of a tussling a little bit further back. Kane Cherian might have been a little bit involved. Nicolas Guillaume having to keep around the outside on the exit of turn number 3 as they go through the fast-paced right-hand sweeper at 5 through 6. Now into turn 7. This is the tight technical part of the circuit. Before you sweep to the left, and it's another left-hander before a double right, which brings you onto the main start-finish straight. Nicolas Picot looks over his shoulder, up the inside. That is Nicolas Guillaume up the inside of Carl Gustav Borgard to take second. Over the line to complete lap 1. Bol leading. Pico sends it from absolutely nowhere, stumbles over the curbs and loses out the opportunity to get through on Carl Gustav Borgard for 3rd position. But the Frenchman's got to watch out. He's got 3 right behind him. Up the inside of Mats-Johan Overhoff, that was Jules Cousin. And they were sidewall to sidewall coming out of turn number 4. And Lucas Pernot has done the pair of them. The Canadian in high spirits and highly motivated in this final race of the weekend. "13 minutes and 19 seconds still to go in this last race for the DD2 and the DD2 Masters. Tom Bracken nearly tripped over somebody else's wheel. Maxime Dirix pulls it round the outside of him to get through and now says, come on, Tom, let's work together, mate. Let's go after everybody else. Lucas Pernot and Jules Cousin round out the top 10. This has got the makings of a very special race in its own right. When you have drivers that are established, you have the young newcomers. So it is all for themselves as Enzo Bol continues to lead the way. And a couple of overtakes being completed. I think one of them might have been Yori Clebo, well, Carl and Yori Clebo. The baker and his son, they both get past Christophe Capitan. Victor Frostbay has got the bit firmly between his teeth as he's just put in the fastest lap of the race, 55.437. He was just a 10th behind Enzo Bol. There's the train behind Nikolai Christensen, who's just had Ed Matthews overtake him for what is 5th on the road. Pernot closing in on the back bumper of Bracken through the braking zone into turn 9. Still plenty of this race to go. But Victor Frostbay loses nearly 0.2 of a second on the previous lap. It ebbs and flows as the pendulum. It always goes like that from time to time. You never know if the person behind you is going to be quicker or are they going to be slower, but you can gauge that through just 20/20 peripheral vision. As Maxime Dirix now closes in on Nikolai Christensen. Looks to get through at the earliest available opportunity. But you can't put down somebody like Nikolai Christensen. You can't count him out, even against the younger drivers. Maxime Dirix in his late teens. Tom Bracken in his early teens. A lot of correction on the steering wheel by Maxime Dirix going through into turn 1. Sometimes smooth is not, well, smoothness in terms of the way that the wheels will point is one thing, but constant adjustment on the steering wheel. You're trying to maximize your entry and your exit point for every single corner that you negotiate around this circuit. So 9 minutes and 34 seconds on the clock remains, plus an additional lap still to go in our penultimate final of the weekend. And I can hear the unburnt fuel through the exhaust as they go down the gear. Well, they basically, when they're lifting off the throttle, sometimes there's a little bit of unburnt fuel through the compression of the cylinder for these Rotax Max Evo 125cc engines. That you can hear some, a little bit of sort of backfiring or a little bit of a popping and a banging. And that's mainly when they're changing gears. But at the moment, Victor Frostbay still trying to keep, well, he's just put in a 54.9 second flat lap time as Victor Frostbay done a very, very good job there. Top 10 covered by 4.3 seconds as we're now on to lap number 7 of the race. Maxime Didic still trying to get past our Nikolai Christensen. It's not that easy, Maxime. You know that, mate. You know that. You got your first victory last year in the Euro Trophy after many, many races of trying. But still the battles wage on up and down the field in this combined DD2 and Masters field. And there's a move from one of the Sheepers racing carts. That would have been, I think, more than likely Nicolas Guillaume making a move in his own right. And he got past Dennis Toom, of all people. So did Ilias Kaliakmanis at the same time. It's not been an easy one for Dennis Toom, who came into this weekend leading the championship standings. And he's going to have to come back at Austricourt in just 41 days' time. There is Kane Cherian ahead of Mats-Johan Overhoff with Jules Cousin just in front of them. That's 11th, well, that's 10th, 11th and 12th position. Lucas Pernaut is just up ahead. Tom Bracken. It's not been an easy one from the youngster from Dilsen Stockholm in Belgium, not too far outside of Genk. He's had a really good run at Genk, and now Enzo Boll has really put himself into the title fight. He was not that far behind his teammate coming into this round of the championship, and Enzo Boll now has said to Tom Bracken, I know we might be friends on track, but we're friends off track when we're in the paddock and we're laughing and joking. But you know what? You're not the only one that wants to win this title and have the opportunity to compete at the grand finals. Just under 6 minutes to go. And there is your race leader. Enzo Boll hasn't really Hasn't really had to worry that much. His lead is now just under 8/10 of a second. But that lead, well, that gap between third and fourth position, that's Carl Gustav Borgard and Nicolas Picot, is now 1.7 seconds. Ed Matthews still ahead of Nikolai Christensen, who looks to be reeling him in ever so slightly. Christensen 54.959 last time out. Matthews 55.050. So just 91 thousandths in terms of pure lap time delta separated the duo. Wonderful hearing these engines roar across the start-finish line just underneath the gantry where the lights are. And the amount of speed that they carry through turns 1 and 2, just those, let me tell you this, those pictures on the screen don't really do it justice. They are going through at a rapid rate of knots, and they're turning in, like rotating their bodies whilst doing so in order to facilitate that. And after what was a promising start for Dennis Thume, he's not had a good run, has the 517. There's actually looks to be a couple of laps down. Enzo Boll now streaking away into the distance with just under 3 minutes remaining. Nearly 1.4 seconds is the young Flying Dutchman's advantage at this moment. Victor Frostbay holding on to second ahead of teammate and countryman Carl Gustav Borgard. Nicolas Picot still leads the DD2 Masters classification. There'll be 2 wins on the bounce for the Frenchman here today. Ed Matthews, a strong performance for the Brit from Dan Holland Racing, currently sitting in P5 ahead of Nikolai Christensen, the BNL Karting Series kickoff winner from this year in March at Karting Genk. Maxime Dirix, no matter what he tries, can't get past him at the moment. He sits in 7th, ahead of Tom Bracken. Lucas Bernot and Jules Cousin round out the top 10 positions as we head into the final 2 minutes of the race weekend, plus an additional lap for DD2 and DD2 Masters, with Senior Rotax closing the show. Sometimes it's not always about going for the opportune moment, the opportune overtake that they need, because Maxime Dirix and Tom Bracken, they'll look at it from this perspective. Okay, I might be 7th, but I'm actually 5th in my class. That's solid points. That's 51 points for, well, that's based on obviously the points that are, the point system has changed from what we used to have last year. So the title fight is going to be a lot closer. Kane Cherian still battling away with, well, he's got past Jules Cousin. Ilias Kaliakmanis is not too far behind as we head into the final 40 seconds. Two more laps to go and still Enzo Bol continues to expand his lead. It's now 1.4 seconds for the 404 from the Netherlands. Victor Frostbay in second, Carl Gustav Borgaard, Nicolas Picot, Ed Matthews, Nikolai Christensen, Maxime Dirks, Tom Bracken, Lucas Pernod. And then it's Mats Johan Overhoff who's looking to secure another solid result in 10th place. That'll effectively make it 8th in the classification as the timer has expired. One more lap to go, and Enzo Bol will now see the sign he's wanted. Last lap. It's the last lap of the weekend for him and the rest behind him. Lead now. Does it expand further? Yes, 1.6 seconds. Victor Frostbay still in second position ahead of Carl Gustav Borgaard. No further changes in the top 10. Make that the top 15. As everyone looking to get it through to the finish. Looks like Dennis Thum will not have the result he wanted. But this man here, the 404, one of the young Dutch hopefuls in the future in motorsport, is showcasing his prowess here at Marienborg. It's been a dominant day for one driver as he makes his way out of the final right-hander. It's going to be a double delight for the Dutchman, Enzo Bol, who wins both races on Sunday. Victor Frostbay finishes a well-deserved second ahead of Carl Gustav Borgaard, and it's a double victory for Nicolas Picot here in DD2 Masters. Ed Matthews signs off the weekend with a very, very impressive 5th place finish, which becomes 4th in DD2. Nikolai Christensen 6th ahead and 2nd in DD2 Masters, ahead of Maxime Dirks, Tom Bracken, Lucas Pernod, and Mats Johan Overhoff. The last 4 round out the top 8 in DD2. Kane Cherian and Jules Cousin, they are 11th and 12th ahead of Ilias Kaliakamanis. And for the last time this weekend, I'm going to say this, uno mas, Nicolas Guillaume. Carl Klebor rounds out the top 3 in DD2 Masters in this particular race ahead of Michael Becker, Lennart Schreiber, Christophe Capitan, Luca Filipponi, with Carl's son Jordi finishing in 20th position. Dominic Hummels, Tony Hogg, rounding out the 22 that completed all 18 laps. And Dennis Thum decided to park the kart with, well, he was 3 laps down and goes down to 4 laps and rounds out the grid.